You need to stop being masculine in your relationship. I remember when I was in a relationship like that and I was in my masculine, I was doing everything. I was making more money and I was paying the bills. I was the main decision maker. I was taking care of all of the gatherings, all of the trips, all the organization, who's going where and what and why. You know, if we needed to find a new apartment, I had to figure out, what kind of rent. I had to do all the negotiations. I had to pay the rent, find the new apartment, so on and so forth. And when I was in a relationship like that, when I was in my masculine, I also, for example, when I was offered a job overseas, my boyfriend just followed me without question. I was in my masculine. I was making all the decisions and he was just following me. I see this a lot, and this is quite a common scenario for women, and women themselves get themselves into this kind of situation, which is quite unproductive, and in my case, unproductive and unfulfilling. And in my case, what this led to, and I still remember, I didn't understand what I was doing wrong. On the surface, the relationship looked great, and in the beginning, I felt good, but in the long term, I could not trust his decision making anymore because he wasn't stepping up. And of course I started to complain that he wasn't stepping up, but I was in charge, right? I was the man, so to say, in the relationship. And so what that led to is that I started to feel bitter. I started to feel resentful, and I didn't understand why. I also was fucking exhausted with doing everything, making all of the decisions. It was really hard for me. I was working a full-time job. I even found a job for him, okay? So if you're seeing these same signs, or if you're doing the same things in your relationship, and you're feeling not fulfilled, you need to really rethink that dynamic in your relationship. And I started to get really bitter about it. I stopped being attracted to my boyfriend, and there was literally no attraction. It felt like I was living with a roommate or with a brother. What's worse is that I started being attracted to actually masculine men. I remember I went at this event, and I was just sitting there at this event, and there was this young guy on stage who was holding the room, who was talking about things. And after the event, he approached me and we started talking. He invited me for a coffee, and as I sat with him in a coffee, at a table at a cafe, and we started talking about different things, he was telling me his plans and things. I felt this surge of energy. I felt this surge of attraction, I didn't understand what's happening here. I don't feel this with my boyfriend. I started to think about what is the problem? What is the problem here, right? And as I did my research, and this was way before I even started doing this work, and as I did my research and started learning, I stumbled upon this concept of feminine-masculine polarity in a relationship dynamic. I understood what I was doing wrong. And what I was doing wrong is that I was in my masculine. I took the role of the masculine pole in the relationship, and for me as a woman, that didn't feel good. It was actually quite destructive. I didn't feel safe in the relationship. I couldn't trust him. I didn't respect him, and I felt like I could walk all over him. And this issue is actually quite, it's not very clear on the surface, because when you are with a man like that who is in his feminine, so if you as a woman, I was in my masculine, and my man who I was with was in his feminine. So when this dynamic is playing out, it's not very easy to understand what's happening in the beginning unless you really dive and do the research, like what is the masculine, what is the feminine. On the surface, such a man who is in his feminine, he looks like the nicest boyfriend. He's the nice guy. He's the guy whom everyone loves. Everyone loved my boyfriend. My parents, everybody thought we would marry. I thought we would get married too, and I was actually pushing him to propose. That's another sign that I was in my masculine, right? So if you're finding yourself telling him what to do all the time, paying the bills, being in charge of everything, not trusting him to make decisions, basically parenting your man, then you definitely know you are in your masculine. So on the surface, he's such a nice guy, right? He would be an amazing father to my children. He would be an amazing husband. He would just be the nice guy who's nice to have around. And the problem with that is that I could not trust this man. We broke up, right? We broke up because I was attracted to these different types of men, and our relationship wasn't going, and I knew something was wrong. And so when I started to research this subject and I stumbled upon this polarity thing, I had an aha moment. I realized, oh my God, I was totally in my masculine in this relationship, and I didn't want to be there anymore. Yes, on the surface, you would have a nice husband, you would have a man who would be a great father to your children, but that's what you'd have. You'd have another child to parent, and I didn't want that. So that's why I broke up. And I realized, that's what I want you to hear, that I need to switch. I need to go from my masculine into my feminine. I need to go into this natural state that I want to be as a woman. And if you're a woman, if I ask you, how do you want to feel in a relationship? Well, I asked this probably more than thousands of women. I asked this question, and I myself, I knew when I answered this question, I answered for myself that I want to feel safe. I want my man to take care of me. I want my man to cherish me. Where I don't sit there and make all of the decisions, take care of everything, so on and so forth. Especially, this became so clear, especially when I became a mother. And you don't need to have children to feel this way or understand this. As a woman, you intuitively, naturally want to be taken care of. So I realized that, and this was my aha moment. This is where my whole journey started, with this feminine masculine polarity, and really rediscovering myself as a woman and realizing I don't need to be in charge. And I had to learn how to let go of control in a relationship. I had to learn how to surrender. I also had to learn that surrender is not weakness. I am a very successful woman, so I say, running a successful business. I have a lot of masculine energy, and I'm an A-type personality. And I can tell you, if you're that woman, well, I know you're watching this and you are that type of a woman. These are all my clients. You don't need to change who you are. You can still be an A-type woman personality. You can still succeed and be very driven and ambitious at work like I am, and you can learn how with men to surrender, to let go of control. It's a simple shift that you need to make, and you need to make it. This is what I realized, so important. If you do this from the beginning, from the moment you start dating men, and you create this natural polarity, then you will end up in a relationship with a man who will take care of you, who you will trust, who you'll feel attracted to. You just need to learn how to do this from the beginning, how to not control the relationship, how to get out of your head asking, where's this going all the time, right? Or pursuing and going after men that you want. Wrong approach. If I want to end up with a man who will take care of me, with whom I feel safe and I feel attracted to for years, I need to be in my feminine energy. And feminine energy is all about letting go of control, as I mentioned before, letting go of that need to control and attach yourself to a man so that you can feel good about yourself because you're in control. All of that has to go. And so what I would really recommend, starting from the moment you're dating, this is the easiest way to do it. When you're dating a man, let them be in charge. Let men lead. What does it mean to let men lead? Is to let him take you out, pursue you, organize dates, pay for dates, so that you create this polarity. And you do the easiest thing. You just show up and relax and let them take care of you, right? It sounds so simple, but not so simple to do. And still, I managed how to do that. And I also created a process for other women to follow the same. So I want you to do that next. And trust me, once you learn how to do that, once you're able to do that, it's freaking amazing. All of my clients are saying, I've not dated properly for years, right? Have I been living under a rock? And the best news here is that men naturally are in their masculine. If you allow men to step up, and if you lean back and let them take charge and let them lead the relationship dynamic forward, they will. And by the way, if you want to learn more about how to create that polarity in a relationship and get more information, or you're curious about what actually is that feminine masculine polarity, click on this video right now where I explain to you how to create polarity in a relationship. This is one of my top videos, so go and watch this video next.